So good afternoon.
Where the arrows are, no?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know if I need my glasses or not need my glasses. Anyway, I'm glad I didn't have to say good morning. I can say good afternoon, and I appreciate you guys being here. We certainly always enjoy the opportunity to get out in front of the business folks so that we can actually see the work of our websites at work. We can meet with people, collaborate with you to just do a lot better websites and web applications. We're going to break our presentation this afternoon into three pieces. So I'm going to talk just generally about mobile, kind of create maybe a baseline for our discussion this afternoon, so we're all kind of speaking the same terminology. And then Janet is going to take us through just some examples of the websites and applications that we've built within the state. And then Anthony is going to inspire us, and hopefully our group, towards some best practices, so some things that we can work towards, as a group, just to, do some better things with mobile going forward. So as we were looking at the presentation, thought it'd be fun to start with just some mobile statistics, certainly some things that really kind of underscore that, this is an area that it really makes sense for us to pay attention to. With the use of the mobile web, we really thought this one was a key one, and that is that mobile use of the web will surpass desktop use of the web by 2015. That 91% of adults in the United States have a cell phone. I'm sure everyone here probably has a cell phone, probably a smartphone. That 34% of users in the United States access the web only through their smartphone. And this was one that really was a realization to us in 2012. We were working with MEMA. You may recall the derecho, Hurricane Sandy that year. And we realized that even the broadcast media were directing people, because of the number of power outages, to their website. And so this was one that really kind of made us kind of stand up and think, okay, what would people see if they had to rely, completely on our website from their cell phone? Another, statistic that in the first quarter of 2013, for the first time, tablets exceeded traditional desktop devices. Even within the IT world, we're trying to manage with respect to how we deal with those types of devices. But certainly the things that we create, we recognize that it's a much easier mobile, tool to carry around. 70% of all mobile searches result in action within 1 hour. And I think if you think even within your cell phone, your mobile phone, if you, whether you're checking for the time, whether you're, making a phone call, these are the types of things that within government we want to equate the way we do business to a particular action that a person may have, on a mobile device. And then lastly, some relevant statistics for us. On Maryland.gov, we're seeing 20% of the users on Maryland.gov coming through on some type of mobile device. 5% of those we know are tablet users. And then on DNR, 40% of users are on DNR are actually mobile users. And so DNR actually just launched their app, and I think we're probably going to show that today. So some buzzwords that we're going to use today a little bit. Maybe some of you have heard these, but if not, there's a term out there called responsive web design. It's often referred to as RWD. In that type of design, there's formatting, so it's really a design and a code method that is going to automatically provide the most optimal viewing of the design and content across all the devices. So, if you were to go to Maryland.gov, certainly there are a lot of commercial sites out there that if you navigate to them on your PC, or you pick up, your smartphone, you pick up your tablet, the idea would be that it's going to automatically scale to those devices. So there's not a need for creating a mobile-friendly site, a separate template, anything. It's just going to automatically do that. The other one we're going to talk about today is native mobile app. And certainly that's an application that's developed for a particular platform or device, an Android, iPhone, something like that. So, I can, yeah.
Right here.
Oh, it's a little weird, like my hand doesn't work. Sorry about that. So that gets us kind of to the question, responsive or, responsive mobile or native mobile and how to choose. And it's a little bit, even that terminology, difficult, right? Because when most of the time you're talking, particularly to your IT people, which can maybe be talking, to like an auto mechanic or something, it's kind of difficult to know what to ask for. You just say, I want a mobile, something or other. And then they look at you, like you have two heads, and we try not to do that in our IT group. But I think knowing, these terms and understanding them and knowing what they mean certainly helps. We're going to kind of go through each one a little bit. So the first one, the responsive mobile approach, and that is, we talked about again, it's going to automatically scale to whatever your device is. Because of that, because the formatting is, within the site, it's been designed that way, it uses the same code base and content for all the devices. So whereas you may be within a responsive site, you want to create a mobile version of that, a native piece, you may have to decide what specific pieces that you're going to take over there. You may have to create different content and that type of thing. This just allows you to apply the same design to everything across the board. As a result, because it is the same code base and content, it's quicker to develop. As a result of it being quicker to develop, it's generally less costly to develop because the more time it takes to do something, the more costly it is. A big one that folks often forget about is that, because it's web-based, the content and design updates are much simpler. So, we'll see when we talk about a native mobile app, there's versioning that's involved, and certainly there's, other things that just don't, make it real easy to make updates, which, unless you know what you're really doing, can be pretty difficult. Because it's a website, there's search engine optimization. So the site can actually be crawled. I think probably most folks in this room, you're focused on making sure that you're driving folks to your website and they can get to it. So within these other apps, you have to use other methods for getting people to use these. And then the last one, that we wanted to make sure we underscore here is that we think responsive design is the best practice for your website and online services. So that's certainly the direction that we're taking with our state government sites. Last March, so March of 2013, we launched Maryland.gov as a responsive website. And what we're doing moving forward is that we have agencies, that we have responsive design for our agency websites that they're moving towards. And the one thing I like to kind of draw out, in these designs that I think is key, and where we're kind of starting with responsive design for our agency sites, is that in just thinking about the horizontal navigation of the sites, that automatically lends itself to a better streamlined structure on a mobile site, because that automatically transfers to the menu icon. It's not real easy to see up there, but on the right side of the screen, you can see that is the piece, and understanding just from an organization of your site, it's a real simple way to kind of compress the information, because one of the things that we hear time and time again from folks that are creating a website or managing their agency website is everyone wants everything on the home page. And so you really can create more of a dynamic or dimension, I guess is the word I'm looking for the site, if you can think about that structure, and then you apply that through responsive design, to the site. So we had the templates available on the Do It website. We had the templates available for a variety of platforms. So we have, this basic HTML5, we have, the CSS, we have Dreamweaver templates, we have SharePoint 2010 and 2013, and WordPress. So we've made those available. Again, it's not a cookie cutter where we're trying to say everyone's site needs to look exactly the same, but there are standards that really help underscore just functional things for citizens, for dealing with accessibility and those types of things that we think are very important. And I'm not going to take the time now to go through these. These are some of the sites right now that we have that are using the responsive design. Certainly we'll make these slides available and you guys can look at them when you have time. So on the native side of things, if you decide, okay, I don't want to, or I have a responsive website, maybe there's a specific business reason that you have a particular business process and an audience that you really think would benefit through a mobile device. And I think when Janet talks about the DNR Access and the NEMA mobile app, she'll probably understand that a little bit more. But when you're thinking about native mobile app, you'll want to ask yourself, okay, first of all, are there any native functions, so any device-specific functions that you may want to rely on, to use? So that's probably like the biggest thing that when you're thinking about a native mobile app. Is there a camera function that you want to be able to use? Is there some type of GPS piece, scanning, push notifications, some user-specific thing that would make it, useful to have versus the website? There is also the content and functionality that is available without the internet. So Janet will probably talk about, if you're in the woods hunting, that you may not have internet access, but you may want to, perform some functionality that's available for that mobile app, and then, using store and forward functions, when you get connected, that would work best. Statistics show that it's best for regular repeat users with high volume use. Again, that personalization aspect, very user specific, where responsive design is more universal. Native mobile approach is really much more user specific. There's also the piece, particularly for e-commerce, it streamlines the delivery of information or transactions through processed payments. So if you use your phone for a lot of micro purchasing, sometimes the native mobile apps are much easier for those types of integrations. On the other side of it, so it requires separate code-based programming languages for whatever apps you're developing for the various devices. So those are separate things. If you're developing something for the iPhone, you have to develop something separately for the Android, Microsoft, any of those other devices. And then another thing to consider is that it requires App Store approval, and that could take anywhere from a week to a month. I think it's been taking about 2 weeks to go through those stores. And that's it. And Janet's going to give us some demos.
So now that Terry has laid out the difference between responsive mobile applications and native mobile applications, I thought I would just talk to you a bit about what is Maryland doing in this arena, because it's not just the commercial sites. State government in Maryland is moving forward, developing responsive websites and applications, and also developing native mobile applications. I work for a company called MIC. We are an e-government firm, as Casey laid out in the beginning. We have been around since 1992, and we have state contracts with about 30 states currently, where we provide development services for e-government products and services. So we've mainly developed I think the catalog is upwards of 8,000 online services now for several states that I've mentioned. We started with Maryland a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2011 we actually signed the contract, so we got started early 2012. We do provide responsive website application design, so the Maryland.gov portal, we worked very closely with DoIT to provide those development services. In addition to, we have about 3 native mobile applications that we've developed for the state for various agencies that I'll take you through in just a moment. The other services we provide under this contract with DoIT, it is a master contract. So there's a work order process. All of that information is on DoIT's website. If you want more information about the contract and the use of the work order process to engage MIC in your development efforts, we can speak after the session. We'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, and you may also visit DoIT's website for that. Terry is our contract manager, so she'll help work through any questions that you may have about the contract. Additional services, when we develop these services for you, we also host them. We provide the security around them. We also provide payment processing for many of the services that we do develop that need payment processing functions. MIC as a company is PCI certified to accept credit cards, processed over $200 million last year in government payments. So we know what we're doing. We've been doing it for several years, and now we're here to implement these services for Maryland. We also do marketing and outreach services. One of the unique pieces of this contract is that as we develop these services, it's at no cost to state government agencies. How do we do that? It's through convenience or transaction fees that are on services that have revenue on them already. So much like you may pay an additional fee to purchase movie tickets online, it's the same process for providing the government service online. Oftentimes, statistically, and over 20 years plus, people are willing to pay that additional nominal fee to do something online to save time for the efficiencies. It also creates efficiencies for the state government agency as well. So we've proven time and again that with modest fees that are proven over time, we can fund the enterprise of products. So with the 3 mobile services that we've developed, those services do not have any fees. They're not transaction-based government services. They're informational-based. So those remain free to the consumer to download in the app stores and to use. And they were also developed for free under this enterprise contract. We do have other business services that we do assess the fees on. So if an insurance company pulls a driving record, for instance, they're going to pay an additional fee to do that. Those funds help fund the enterprise of e-government services across state government in Maryland. So it's a very, not unique anymore. We still say unique because people don't know how it works. It's too good to be true, but it's proven over 20 years. So. What I'd like to talk to you about is what we've developed. So in Maryland, we've developed the Central Business Licensing and Registration Payment Service. That went live early January 2013. It is completely responsive. So business users who want to incorporate, establish their business in the state of Maryland can do so online now. It actually is cross-agency functional, meaning the Comptroller's Office and the State Department of Assessments and Taxation are participating in this. So as a business entrepreneur, you can come online, establish your business, do the paperwork that you need to do with SDAT and the Comptroller all in one stop, a one-stop service. What's great about this application, if you go visit the Maryland.gov website and search Central Business Licensing, you'll be able to pull it right up and see it. It works on any device. So an entrepreneur could be on their tablet, their desktop, laptop, or even a smartphone and establish a brand new business in about 20 minutes. And we have had the mobile usage on that application as well, so we've been able to track that. And this shows you the 3 examples of what Responsive does. Responsive will take an application which looks like the desktop. The middle panel is your tablet view. So if they're on a tablet, you see how it takes the same information, but it scales it to their view. And then the right panel is a smartphone view. And so you can, with Responsive, as Terry was saying, it's all the same code view, but you have a mobile app now. So when you're on the smartphone or the tablet, you are looking at a mobile application, but it's not a native one that you download in an app store. It's accessible to anyone on any device, so it's not just available on the Android or the Apple devices. It's available across all platforms now that are smartphone enabled. The next example I have is waste kitchen grease transporter registration. This is a really interesting application. I had no idea when I started. Agriculture said, we have this need, it's a legislative mandate. There's kitchen grease, used kitchen grease that is being stolen from restaurants around the state, and it's being legislated, so it's a hazard. It can create fires if it's being stolen and misused and handled improperly. So we need to have a registration, an online registration for transporters of the waste kitchen grease to register, be legit, and also serve an enforcement purpose for state police where they can actually check credentials of transport companies to make sure they're legit companies transporting the hazardous materials. So this is another example of an online service for government that we created. It's an application, it's responsive, so it works on any device, and that registration can be done on a smartphone. We have actually developed 20, so far as Terry was saying, 20 different services for the state of Maryland in the last 2 years, and all but 3 are responsive. So every one of them, the best practice is that it be responsive in the event that someone wants to access it outside of a desktop. From the native perspective, I have a couple of examples to show you. The Motor Vehicle Administration had the driver practice test, very popular with young drivers, and actually those that want to refresh their skill sets as they get older and try to see if they'll still pass and can drive on the roads in Maryland. So maybe we should all be doing that with the weather out there. We should see what the rules of the road are in this kind of weather. One would be stay off the roads, but anyway, this has been very, very popular. We had about 7 states from an NIC partnership perspective that had this application. So what's, again, unique about this partnership that we have with Maryland is that we were able to take the code from our other states, customize it very quickly for the state of Maryland, import their questions, and publish this application in less than a month. So it was a very quick win for the state, for the Motor Vehicle Administration. Very, very popular, more than 300,000 downloads in September. What's unique about this for you social media folks is that you can answer all the questions, get to the end, it gives you a final score, and you can share it via social media channels. So if you want to email it to your parents or your friends or whoever, if you want to post it to Facebook and Twitter, you can say, hey, I just took the Maryland driver practice test and either pass or fail. Hopefully you want to let them know that you passed it. So there is the integration of social media in these applications. So all of the websites have traditionally always had your links to social media as well. But now your native application should also have that integration with social media channels to help create that engagement with that citizen. It also creates a sense of community when you engage, as you all know, your social media managers. That's what you're trying to do, is create that more satisfied constituency and create more engagement. So we do that through these native applications as well. The MEMA mobile application is called MD Prepares, and this is, again, a native mobile application. We've had, it's only been since October that this has been live. We've done the first round of press on this application being available, and I do think that as we keep seeing weather-related events or other types of emergencies, you see an uptick in downloads. So you'll see it kind of level off, and then you'll see, oh, here's a couple more dozen folks that have downloaded this when you have bad weather situations because of the frequency of it being tweeted out. Here's this new application that MEMA has as well. You can prepare, this is an example of MEMA said, we have this information that we want to still remain available to the constituency when they don't have internet connectivity. So in the event that it is an emergency and they don't have internet connectivity, they should still be able to go to their phone and find out what they need in their emergency kits. get information about what to do in the event of an emergency. So there's certain information that they wanted to remain on the device at all times, and that was the store and forward capability, or store, in this case it's the store capability that Terry was mentioning earlier. So if you want content to be available offline, native might be the way to go. If it's something that people aren't going to be referencing very frequently, maybe it's not a case for a native application. So there are just some questions you need to ask yourself as you're trying to decide what's native and what's responsive. You can prepare an emergency kit, create a family plan. The social media aspect that's interesting here is that it has push notifications, so you sign up to receive push notifications. So when you are connected, it will push to you emergency events that MEMA pushes out actively. So you will get those in the form of a badge on your phone. You've probably all seen them for various alerts that you get. So this is integrated into this application as well. You can email, text someone, or post to the social networks that you're safe. And you set up your family safe plan ahead of time. So at the time that you're trying to get someone information, that would be great. So what would have been good for me is I was here when we had the earthquake. I was downtown Annapolis, and we're getting ready to go into a building and look at some rental space and some commercial space. The earthquake hit, and nobody could call anyone. I don't know if you were all around and remember that. Nobody could call anyone. And my mom, who was in town visiting and taking care of my daughter, and they were across the bridge, and I couldn't reach them. Well, it would have been great. So I'm texting different people, right? So I had like 5 or 6 people that I was texting back and forth, trying to reach them and let them know I was okay and were they okay. This was all in one place. I had a whole list. I could actually do group and then post it out to social media as well. So it would have been kind of cool to do that and let people know that you're safe. Because then I had people from all over different states saying, are you safe, are you okay? So that was great. And then DNR just launched yesterday morning, was published in the App Store under Apple's App Store. So if you have an iPhone, that version is now available. The Android version will come out in approximately 3 or 4 weeks. So we will have that version as well. But DNR's mobile application is called MD Access DNR. If you search Maryland DNR, you will find it. It has news events that show up on the front page. So as DNR posts news events that are relevant that they want you to know about, you'll get that on the news tab. They'll also post alerts so that they'll push through any alerts. So what's great about that is the state park closes or there's flooding in an area, they can push that to the front of that application for you, and you get a little notification that shows up on the corner of your application icon. It has state park directory in it. It's geo-IP based, so wherever you are, because your phone has that capability to know where you are, your location of your address, it will point to you state parks, WMAs, boat launches. So there's a number of fishing locations. There's a number of DNR type activities that it will push to you within a 10-mile radius, 20-mile radius, 50-mile radius. You can actually customize that. So it's really great. I can know that, Sandy Point State Park is within this many miles from me. I can drill down to the details of the state park. What does it offer? Where is it located? I can link over to get park passes that are on the DNR website, and those pages are responsive. So now I have a full sort of mobile experience for my customer, even though I don't have all of the DNR content on this native device. I can actually help make that experience more uniform for that user as they're buying their park pass and doing the other activities, buying a fishing license and a hunting license. It gives you fees and regulation information. There's a sunset, sunrise timer, which is really kind of cool. And that, again, based on your location, it tells you when the sun will rise. Well, that's very important to hunters, and I think even fishermen as well, watermen. You can't, the law is such that you can't hunt so many minutes before sunrise, for instance. So that's been a great help to those that hunt and fish. The unique social media piece here that's really the big draw is that when you are hunting and you do harvest an animal, when you get that 10-point buck out there in the woods and you want to let everyone know that you've done that, you can actually take a picture of it. You can also check that or report that harvest to DNR from your mobile device. So in three steps, there's like 3 screens, you actually can take a picture, you enter in some information about that animal, and you hit submit, and it will submit that information over to DNR electronically, so you reported your harvest. You don't need to go to a check station, you don't need to go online and do it. It's all done through your mobile application now. In addition to that, you can hit another button that says share via the trophy case. So you can put all of your harvests in a trophy case, you can share them all out on Facebook and Twitter, and it is one of the most popular applications that have been put out for state government because it's a very engaged group of sportsmen. People like that, they use it over and over again. They can use it to find waterways or hunting locations. The state of Arkansas had this application first, and they put it up and had, now it's up to 60% of all of their harvest reporting is done through the mobile application. So it's actually surpassed any other method of doing it. So great example of a good use of a native application. Some of the best practices, we've talked a little bit about them as I've given you examples. Optimize the content for mobile first. What is it that you want? What's the specific need that you're trying, that citizen is trying to do, or that business is trying to do in this native mobile application that you're trying to create for them? What's the specific intent or targeted use of your application? Apply statewide web standards, because that's very important. Everything needs to be uniform throughout their use of any government website. It helps that user feel familiar. They are more trusting of government websites that look the same and function the same across the board. Branding is important. We've established a few best practices for branding. MD, practice driving test, MD prepares, MD DNR. You have limited space under the icon, as you all know. You have 11 characters, so we've established some basic standards here. And we want to make sure that it's official. There's lots of apps out there. They're not official. They're not sanctioned by government. We don't know what they're doing. So it's really important that you follow some of these basic standards when you're creating your native application, whether it's NIC or any other vendor developing these services for you. Do It will help you if you have questions about how to do that. And then keep the icon simple. You want people to be able to look at it. You know, my Walgreens app is a big W. I know it. I just hit the button. I don't have to read every little thing underneath it. So it's really important to follow those standards and best practices. And that was an example of what we have. Anthony is going to switch gears a little bit and talk to you about some RSS.
One of the disadvantages of going and class in a presentation is generally everything we're going to talk about has already been covered. But it's good to hear what I heard all day today. I mean, all the speakers, they hit on some very important points throughout the day. You know, it's true. Things that you all have to do, there's a lot of work to do here. There's a lot of pieces that come into play here. The bottom line is all these things eventually come back to your websites. That is the hub for all of your communications. You know, your Facebook, your Twitter, I'm going to talk about RSS in a minute here. Everything you do, they're all just little teasers. You want to get people engaged at that level and bring them back to your website to tell the whole story. So it's really important that you take a lot of time and effort and make sure your website is a quality product. Jim from Facebook spoke about it a lot. Photographs, good imagery. Woman from Washington, you know, make sure you are engaging, make sure you have a good story, make sure you use good videos, make sure you make it fun. You have to get these people to visit your sites. And once you get them there, then you can tell your stories. These social media outlets that you're going to take advantage of are great tools, but you do need to bring them to something that is worthwhile, worth their time, worth their effort to go there, and that's really important. And one of the ways to help you with that is by promoting your content. And RSS is one of the things we've been really trying to focus on as far as aggregating information from state and other government agencies. We really do want to help you all tell your story from the Maryland.gov level and from other levels as well. If you can syndicate your content, then it's easier to share the information. It's easier for you to organize your information, and it's easier for customers to get your information. So I know you all have different situations in place. You have different content management systems, you have different staffing issues, but content promotion using RSS is not difficult. Most content management systems out there have it built in. Does anybody here use RSS currently with their websites? One person, 2, 3, okay, a few. One thing I want to leave you with today is this. We talked about RSS today, but one thing we do want to do with you is assist you with these types of things. If you don't have the ability to do this type of stuff, reach out to Lori. She can find people to assist you with getting these things built up. It doesn't matter if it's your Facebook or your Twitter or your RSS or your responsive design. All the things that we talked about here today, if you're not familiar with them and you don't know how to do them, we can help you, because it's going to make everybody's life easier if we can do all these things correctly and do them well. It'll make us all look better, and it'll help the citizens in general. So bottom line, I want you to walk away with knowing that if you don't know how to do any of this or you're confused about certain things that happened today, reach out to us and we can assist you with this. The RSS piece is really important, and I'm going to focus more or less on your press releases at this point. All your news that you send out, if you can get them into a situation where they can be fed out by an RSS feed, you can basically, when you update information, you don't have to alert certain people that you've updated your news. They will be alerted on their own. When new things are posted, if they subscribe to your feed, they're notified automatically that new information is out there. You can use that information for your social media efforts. You can use them on Twitter, you can use them on your websites, and we can take that information at a Maryland.gov level, and we can put it all into one place. So people can find everything they need from everyone all in a location. You can do it from a county level, you can do it at the state level, the federal government does it already at a federal level. So it's really important that you try to get those things all together in one place so we can all share the information. It's very important. I said, websites, the hub of your social media efforts. The photo thing is really important. And one thing that everybody always says to me when I mention photos is, and I heard it a couple times today, we don't have photos, we don't have good video, we don't have resources. And so we are trying to create those resources for you. And we have a State Maryland Flickr account currently. And as of now, we have over 1,000 photos up right now that you all can use for your efforts. Yeah.
I just took a bunch of pictures from that site, and they're on the
Yes.
Flickr.
Wonderful.
I want to use them to cover my annual report.
Yes.
And I can use them because they're Maryland products.
That's correct.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Well, now, there's one little caveat. One thing I would ask you to do is we do have a lot of photographers who do give us photographs for free. And there's metadata in here that has the photographers' names in here, but if you're going to use photographs from the Maryland Photo Bank, if you just reach out to me and just tell me which ones you're using, I can double check with them, make sure that you give them the right credit. You don't need to pay for them. Most of these are high resolution photographs that you can use in print as well. They're not just for web. So we have a ton of photos. They're tagged, so you can go in here and you can type in winter, for example. So I did everybody's photo stream. Well, one thing about this, you got to search our photo stream, which is important, not just everybody's. And just typing in winter, and you'll get all winter shots. And we have contributors from SHA, from other state agencies. Yeah. I mean, and so we're trying our best to make them easy to find, easy to navigate. But again, these are all free for you to use. And so we have the resources photo-wise to help you. If you don't see stuff up on here, reach out to a lawyer or I. We can maybe try to find them someplace else. There's other things. We don't post everything up here. Like, for example, if you want a picture of a stop sign, I don't have it up on the photo. These are really kind of pretty pictures of Maryland. We have utilitarian pictures that we can give to you as well. We're working on the video piece of it and things like that. So, we're here to help with that kind of stuff. The website's included. If you want to build a responsive website, we can help you with those types of things. So, back to the information sharing piece. Now, like I said, the bottom line is with this, everybody is doing things different ways. So if you're having issues, you haven't been able to set this up, you haven't been able to get this to work, I would recommend that you reach out to me personally and let me know what you're dealing with situation-wise. What software you're using, what kind of staff you have, what challenges you have, and we can overcome them on a case-by-case basis. I can't give you a blanket, this one-size-fits-all solution will work for everyone. But I can guarantee you that if you have a website and it's out in the public domain, we can figure out a way to get this working for you. So it's important for everybody that we can do this and share the information and get it all in the same place so we can all, make everything look better. So, that's really all I have about this. Do you have any questions? Yes, Chair, Tracy.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
How do you get to the Flickr site without going to Flickr.com, state of Maryland?
How do you what?
How do you get to the Flickr
How
site?
does the state of Maryland Flickr photos from Maryland.gov?
You have to go to the address and you go to flickr.com/state-maryland.
Because we were looking for some pictures and we clicked on the Flickr icon on Maryland.gov and that sent us to the governor.
Yes, well, okay, let me just say this. On all the state websites, part of the branding we have is social media branding. And what we've done is, if you go to a state website, let's just use DNR as an example. No, let's not use DNR, let's use state. As part of the branding, we have all of our, the new branding initiative, we have the social media information in the top right-hand side of all the screens. And one of the things about the branding is consistent placement of information. All the new branded websites have things in similar places. The navigation's in the same place, the social media's information in the same place, the return to Maryland.gov is all in the same place, and it's all consistent. So when you go from site to site, you know you're dealing with the Maryland website. The social media information we have up here is specific to the governor's office because it is a photo gallery of things that are happening in the state of Maryland. We happen to follow the governor with the State Maryland account. The State Maryland Flickr account is not a resource for citizens to use to take our photos and use them for their personal use or for commercial purposes. The State Maryland Flickr account is for you all, for you to use for your state resources only. So it is not a catch-all for everybody. You can't go and use these for your personal magazines, your personal websites, things like that. This is for your work-related stuff. So we don't publish that URL. That's a very good question. So you would have to type it in, or we could send you the link. I'll have Lori put it in the follow-up email. But that is just for you all to use for state resources only. Thank you. Good point. Now, once you do get this set up, I do encourage you, please set up your own site Flickr accounts. People love looking at pictures. I mean, it's a draw. You do come in and take a look at what's going on at your agency. Please do that. It's another great social media avenue for you to take advantage of. And it's a great Flickr. Well, right now, it gives you a terabyte of free space to store your photos and make them searchable. You guys have the best Flickr site. I love it. I mean, you get it all. Do you have a photographer working on staff? Yeah. Yeah.
They have good stuff, too.
Well, also, I mean, come on, they have helicopters and stuff too.
Exactly.
So if you have to look at their site, their Flickr account's fantastic. It's great to look through. But again, it's a great resource. I mean, I needed a picture of M&T Bank Stadium. I don't have the helicopter. You guys have overheads from Veterans Day, and flyovers, and it was great. And I mean, those are great resources we can take advantage of. And so, if we all did that, it would make everybody's job a whole lot easier. So, thank you.
Great, I'll have to send you over.
Please do. And honestly, somebody mentioned the phones earlier. Your iPhone cameras, they're fabulous cameras. They take high resolution photographs. They take HD quality videos. I mean, when you're taking videos, just keep them still. Don't run around with them. Honestly, stick them on the podium, set them down, and turn the power button on. They take great video, and they also have editing capabilities on the camera. I mean, it's frame by frame editing. You can add titles. You can add stuff at the end. I mean,
They can get a tripod. I have a tripod.
You can get a
for mine,
tripod.
So
Yeah, they're $20.
Set it right up and use my tripod. I have a little microphone when I record stuff.
Yeah, some of the pictures I put on the State Maryland account I've taken with my phone. I mean, so you have a lot of you have resources, you just don't realize it. And and like I said, you have that Flickr account if you have your Flickr account for your agency, a terabyte of space for free. Dump anything up there that you could possibly use. I mentioned the stop sign. People need pictures of stop signs. I mean, you may not need it every day, but you need them. And if you keep them out there, you have them, you make them searchable. You go to your search box, type in stop sign, got it right there.
Jessica, don't you have like 400 of those?
Yeah, I know, right?
SHA, they have that.
I know, it's great. I mean, I love the control room pictures. I mean, they're fabulous. When we need them, they're great. And I don't have to go looking for them.
What is it, the double fly plow?
It's a great plow.
Yeah, double wing plow. Yeah.
So, well, I'll be available after the meeting for a while if you guys have any specific questions. Do you have any generic questions that I could tackle right now? Or anything else for Terry or Janet? No? I'll turn it over.
So Okay, but the one thing I want to bring up with these guys is what Jordan from Facebook said. And he was talking about optimizing the back end for better social visual content. So basically what he was saying is that when you post linking a URL, if the images, if the website, the back end of the website is designed properly, the image will come up in a post size picture. Tracy was saying that when she posts using the URLs on the newsfeed on DNR, it comes up with a little picture and then a, sort of a description of the URL to the right. It's not as visually engaging. So Anthony understands, I think what needs to be done. I think those images are 403 by 403.
The image size you want to use for that is it's 403 by 403,
Yeah.
but if you can't get them, making them bigger is not a problem.
Yeah.
Making them too small is a problem. What happens is if you have a picture and it's 220 by 220 and you post it up, it'll stretch it to 403 by 403. It'll make it look bad. If you have an 800 by 800 picture, that's fine. It'll shrink it for the Facebook and the social media post. When you click on the detail, it will bring up the bigger version. It'll look very nice.
Actually, on the post, what I think it does is only show a percentage of the picture.
That's true.
So really, if you want to optimize it for a post, you want it exactly at 403 by 403.
Yeah, but you definitely don't want to make it smaller. You want to
Yeah.
make it at least that big, but a larger size isn't bad. It does, you're right, it does crop the
It
bottom.
crop, yeah,
Which is fine.
you miss a head, sometimes it doesn't crop well
Usually cuts the
either.
bottom off.
Yeah.
Not they just,
Well,
because
you
usually
know.
they're heads.
Yeah, unless they're outside.
Yeah.
So you guys, we want to make these things useful to you. So if you could shoot us an email and let us know how you want these workshops to work, what more we could do to better help you, to provide information that is useful to you. Probably one suggestion would be not to do it in January during a session in a ice storm. So yeah, we already got that one. You don't need to send that to us. We get it. Yeah, unless the National Guard can, get us in, that would be good. So let us know how we can make them useful for you. Does anybody have any general questions for, sort of state use of social media that we can answer for you at this point? Good, that's awesome.